Welcome back to another Movie Monday. Before we get into this, if there is any movie you'd like me to review, comment them down below. But today we will be reviewing Longlegs because it is getting closer to spooky season, so why not review a spooky movie or titled as like a scary horror film, Getting into the film, honestly, I had no clue what the movie was about. I had zero knowledge about this film besides maybe the one trailer I watched. And one thing I wasn't really a fan of was just that like it does the cliche thing of like, this is the scariest thing you'll ever see in your life. And it's like, it is just so redundant, so overdone. So many horror movies do that, and it's just like cheap jump scares that you can see coming from a mile away. It just, I don't know, it's annoying to me. Obviously, like, I do think like it is, like a personal thing. Like I do think like this is a personal grip that I have with trailers, not movies themselves, because movies sometimes are better. But overall, I love horror films. Like for example, The Thing, the first Scream, the original one, A Quiet Place trilogy, and Thanksgiving, because that's just really a fun, slasher film. So overall, I really do love horror films. Like I could watch horror films every single day if I could. Getting back into this film, basically, it takes place during the 1990s and follows a female FBI agent named Lee Harker, I guess a spin-off of Harper, but who was assigned to solve a case following a serial killer named Longlegs. But as she gets deeper and closer to the serial killer and the case, it covers many interesting things about the serial killer and his following, plus some personal stuff, like how the case actually ties into her personal life. And basically, like the case follows through and basically her trying to stop the killer and catch him. This kind of overall like the general consensus and plot synopsis, but this was and will be a spoiler-free review. And a few things to be noted though before we get into the goods and the bads is that this movie is rated R, is titled as horror/suspenseful, which we'll get into later on in this movie. It also has a runtime of around an hour and 40 minutes. It has parts, I'm not gonna say how many parts it has, but it does have parts of the movie. It has no post-credit scene. Now let's get into the goods and the bads. Now getting into the goods, honestly there's a good amount of them, but starting off with the intro/beginning of the film was honestly shocking. I did not expect it to start that hot. Like it started really hot. I kind of like, it caught me by surprise. I cannot even lie. Like I'm not gonna say what happened, but it was just surprising. But moving on from that, I think the acting in this movie, I think every single actor in this did an amazing job, a phenomenal job, like portraying the character and the situations that they're in. Like they're actually characters, and I believe in like this situation could actually happen. Like which is great acting from everyone. Speaking of the acting, the actor that plays the serial killer, I'm not gonna say who they are because I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, just the actor that plays the serial killer I think is actually really good. Like honestly, I personally am a fan of the actor, and I do think that sometimes they do some goofy movies, but overall I do personally like the movies that they're in. And moving on from that, I do think the cinematography, honestly, this movie is pretty good. Like it is really good. Like some of the shots and like some of like the visuals that this movie does is honestly astounding and amazing. And I was like, dude, that's a great shot. Like, dude, that's crazy to see. Like, oh my gosh, that is just like wow. Positioning though, from the choreography too, this movie always makes you feel like that freaking, there's always someone's watching. Like when the scene ends, the camera stays like in a weird empty space, staring like down a hallway, like a dark hallway, for like another 10 to 20 seconds, always making you feel like, all right, he's probably watching you, they're probably watching, there's always someone probably watching. It just gives you the chills. Getting past that, I like how they kept the killer's face kind of a secret up until a certain point in the movie, and I just like how it kept the mystery of like not knowing who it is, kind of like uncovering it as we go on together with the characters themselves, not just showing us whenever they have the chance to. And ending off the goods with just two little minor ones is, this movie is weird in a good way. Like it's a unique type of movie. Like that's also my last good. It's just unique. Like you really don't see this type of movie. Like it's just weird, if that makes sense. Like it's just a weird, unique type of movie, but in a good way, dude. And the ending too was insane of the movie, dude. I can't even lie. I almost forgot about this, but dude, the ending was just so crazy to think about. Like it had a huge twist and everything. It was so unexpected, at least for me, and it was just a crazy ending. But those were the goods. Now let's get into the bads. Getting to bad, honestly there really isn't that many, to be honest, but starting off with some of the decisions made by the characters, I feel like were just not the smartest. Like in the beginning, I said it was crazy. Well, the decision made in the beginning wasn't the smartest, I cannot lie. But yeah, some of the decisions made by the characters were just, I don't know, really weird in my opinion. Like sometimes they seem out of character, even though the acting was great. Some of the decisions though were just baffling. Moving on from that, some shots were just too dark. Like some of the scenes were just super dark. It was like hard for me to tell. Maybe it was just my fault, maybe just I'm going blind or something. But just, man, it just was super dark where I couldn't really even see anything. Moving on from the darkness, we're going into suspense. The suspense in the movie is really good. It's building up to this big old thing. Nothing happens. I think it's just I understand like it's suspenseful, but just the suspense leads to nothing, and it's just so disappointing. But moving on to our last bad, I feel like the horror is not really there. Like I understand there's different types of horror, and I'm kind of contradicting myself from saying that I gave me kind of chills sometimes. I didn't feel like it was that scary. I don't know. Just to me, it wasn't really that scary at all. So I feel like this is more of a thriller, suspenseful movie and less of a horror. Those were all the bads. Now let's get into the rating. Movie was so unique. Like honestly, it was just super unique. Like it was just like I can't even think of any movie that has the same premise as this. And it was also interesting, like seeing like the FBI agent break down and get closer to solving the case on Longlegs. And when they do figure out like how like the murders happened, like how like Longlegs commits those murders, it's insane and crazy to think that like he did that for years, for many years. It is crazy to think. It is sucked though because honestly, it is not a horror movie, and I don't think it should have been advertised. I think it should have been like advertised as a thriller, suspenseful movie, not a horror one. But it is a great film. But again, it does have some flaws. So for that reason, I'll be giving it an 8 out of 10. And this movie is worth to watch. I do think, yes, it is worth to watch. It is such a unique concept. And just honestly, the acting, just everything overall, this film was just great. But that will be it for this movie review. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And if you did, comment down what you did or didn't like about this movie without spoiling it. And if there's any other movie you would like reviewed, comment it down below. Leave a like, subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.